Left church that Sunday morning, and we decided that we were going to have dinner together. Ashley, Isaiah, Reverend and Mrs. West. We get into the vehicle, we ride together, and we get to the restaurant, and we decide, Isaiah and I, let the ladies out at the door of the restaurant while we go to park. The plan goes in motion. While we're riding to Virginia, unbeknown to us, Alex is talking to Ashley via text. We get into the restaurant, they get into the restaurant, me and Isaiah are trying to find a parking space. And Alex calls Ashley, and Ashley must answer speakerphone. And Alex says to Ashley, "Is Mama around? Because I got something to tell you. I have to go to the gynecologist with Bobby tomorrow, and I don't want Mama to know." Mama said, "I'm sitting right here." Alex hangs up. Mama go ghetto first lady. I cannot repeat what I think she said, but I know it came out like this: "She ain't gonna hang up on me in a conversation like that. But I tell you what, when my husband and Isaiah get to the table, I'm gonna call that back." Now I don't know what's in there. So Isaiah and I walked to the table like men, and I could see on my wife's face something's wrong. We only getting to see, "Excuse me." So I sit down, me and Isaiah, So I asked Ashley, "What's wrong with your mother?" Not knowing that Alex had already written the text message to show me. Alex got to go to it said, going to the gynecologist with, I think, Bobby. I'm just making up a name, was a boy. And I don't want Mama and Daddy to know. So I'm thinking, this is my thought. I got some words, because now I done gone ghetto too in my head. But my concern is I'm starting to reflect on Mama's words. Don't bring nothing back from Tennessee that you can't digest. And I'm thinking into myself, now I'm going to say some words that's not going to be godly, but I'm not even sure if she's going to hear the words, because I think Mama going to kill her. That's how I'm thinking. So they get back to the table, and when we sit down, here it goes. Her and Ashley, Alex and Ashley in concert, April Fool. Now, let me tell y'all something. That did not ease up at April Fool. That was the worst meal that we had eaten. And I tell you, I think we laid in bed that night and looked at each other and asked, "You really think it was an April Fool?" Because we had gotten so angry, I would have hollered April Fool. And so after I figured out it was an April Fool, I looked over at my wife and I said, "That was a good one." I said it was a difficult one, but it was a good one. And we had to surrender and say, "She got us." But that wasn't dangerous. The dangerous one is when you play April Fool with your own self. When you believe that you're standing upright and you're falling. When we think that every I has been dotted and every T is crossed, We think we got our fangs in God, and God got his hand in us. That's a dangerous April fool. When you fool yourself to think you standing with God and you standing on shaky ground. That's what Paul is really saying. He said, so if you think you're standing, watch out. Don't fool yourself. And he's talking to the church at Corinth and the Jewish community and anyone that thinks like them. Read the entire chapter, but you'll find some words. He says the problem with some people is that they're shacking with God, but they're not espoused to God, and it don't work that way. He said, he uses the word in the first 2 or 3 verses. He talks about Moses, and he talks about ancestry or ancestors. And what he's really saying, some of you all are just shacking along with God, but you didn't marry him. Let me put it another way. They're hanging out with Moses, but they're not really connected to the God that called Moses. They're following all the religious rituals as if they got a relationship, but they're just searching for the benefits. They come to church, but ain't no church in them. Paul says, be careful and make sure, check your relationship, make sure you ain't just shacking with him. So maybe my terminology is too old for some of you, so let me explain to you what it is. Back in the day, when people were shacking, a couple would live together as if they were married, getting all the benefits of marriage, but not getting the responsibility that comes with marriage. And we call that shacking. Looking married, living as married, but really there's no commitment there. The benefits for that is you get all the fruit, and when the fruit gets stale, you can leave without alimony. I wish I could preach just like I feel it. And so let me be happy. Let me get rid of a couple of myths for you. In Maryland and Virginia, common law marriage is not recognized. What that means is you can stay together forever and ever, and when the day comes and he or she dies, you don't necessarily inherit what's left. So those of you who say, I'm going to keep it for 7 years and then we be married, not in Maryland and Virginia. And go across D.C. line. I tell you what it will do at D.C., then you both got to sign to agree to it. The best thing you can do is go to another state and live, and Maryland and Virginia will recognize the common law of somebody else, but it ain't happening here. So those of you, if anyone understands my voice, y'all been living together this long in Maryland, the state of Maryland, I just want you to know I wouldn't care if it's 20 or 30, you ain't married. You better get a will. Let me get rid of the other myth. I understand the logic, though, behind it. People would shack together, live together, talking about, hey, maybe we should live together, see if we can stay together. Come on, don't be no fool. If they're trying to get you to sign the paper, they're going to lie to you in your bed while they're either outside the door or inside the door. And then you get married, because the mythology is this, that people who live together and get married, their divorce rate may be a little higher than those who just walked out on faith. And yet I understand you living together, because there's some, especially when you become a little older, because it's about money. If you're kind of old and you want to shack, problem is you can't get married, because then you say love costs too much, because you're going to lose one of those checks. That's the law. But let's cut to the chase. Now I gave you all your excuses, maybe left a few undone. But the reality is that when two people got to live together and not commit to one another in holy matrimony, it's not because of finances. It's not because of logic. It's because the bottom line is you're not sure what you got. And you want to check, you want to test the water before you take the water, because you want to make sure you know what you have. Paul said you don't got to do that with God. You know what you have. So anybody that want to looking for a good spouse, to spouse, I suggest you choose God. Let me see if I can go down your Rolodex and tell you what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody that's going to stay with you? God would never leave you nor forsake you. He wrote that in his vow. You looking for somebody that's going to pay your bills? God said he'll supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. You want somebody who's going to take care of you? He's food in the cupboard and drink for your thirsty soul. He's a roof over your head. He even takes care of your lawn if you need it. He'll get you a car if that's what you want. You looking for a good one to marry? I'm going to tell you a good one to marry. This one will even become your physician when you're sick. He'll put his hands on you, and by his stripes you are healed. If you're in trouble, he'll stand up for you in court. He'll be your witness, your judge, your jury, and he'll be your acquittal. You looking for somebody? I don't know why you're sitting there trying to shack up when you got everything in him. You looking for somebody to marry? I know who God is. God is faithful and loving and merciful and graceful, and he'll always be there. Paul says shacking they ain't gonna work. Used the word our ancestors and Moses because they were trying to get in on God on the coattail of their parents. Hey, y'all look a little baffled today. Then there's another word that Clyde he has in there. He says, do not be an idolater. Now, some people ain't shacking with God, but you're networking. You rather network with him than serve him. Preach, Wes. I said, Lord, I don't know how they're going to take this sermon today, but you gave it to me. I'm going to deliver it. So the network came because we had a person, I ain't going to call their name, was at our table, and they had their entrepreneurs, and they come to share their business. And it was interesting. In the business that they do, being self-employed, they don't really have a staff, and they don't have a boss. What they do is what they call network. And they said, what we have, or what I have, are vendors. This is where it got me. But the thing about my vendors, my little gods, I don't always have to use them. I use my vendors based on my client's cost, need, and quality. Then they said something else. And if you don't like my little gods, my vendors, you can give me your vendors. And I will work with your vendors based on need, cost, and quality. That's what idolatry is. People that you don't really do away with God, you just put them in your network of gods. He's one of many. Y'all look at me like, could you prove it? Let me go here and get it over with. This is what it means when we say holy on Sunday and hell raisers on Monday, because we change up gods based on days and location. On Sunday is Yahweh. On Monday it's my way. At parties it's our way. On dates is their way. And what you need to understand, if you're really with God, is God always. Because you don't need a whole bunch of vendors. He's everything that you ever need. He is all that you'll have to ask for. Whatever you stand in need of, God has it. Haven't you heard? He's able to do exceedingly abundantly more than you could ever ask or imagine. That means you don't need to go to no other God. And just in case you forgot, there's only one God and one Lord, as there's one baptism and one faith. You can't network this God. It don't work that way. Don't think you standing. Watch out. And you falling. Because you shacking and networking. Talking about me and God all right. Ooh, I done stepped on some toes. And y'all I don't know what's going on here, but y'all get some looks on y'all face like, hurry up, Reverend. All right, since you calls for the speed dial. Then there's another word in these verses. Read all of them. He says, don't complain. Now let me tell you what that means. That means that there are people who are really billing God rather than believing God. You're tallying up receipts. Y'all all right? Help me, Jesus. Because a complaint is only filed towards someone you think owes you something. You don't complain if you owe them something, unless they want too much. Then they owe you still something. Lord, help me, help us. So I was standing in the Safeway, and this happened in Safeway and Food Line, and I'm not going to do no divide here, but there's certain people I learned over the past 2 weeks. When I see them in line, I'm not getting behind them. Bottom line. So I'm standing in the Safeway. You know how you're in this grocery store and you got to pick the line, you're going to pick the shortest one. And you, especially when you got the Express. You know, you got less than 12 items. So you go to Safeway, they got 2 lines. And you stand between them, look, see which one you're going to pick. So I picked the one where I'm next in line. Bam. Sam, I get in line. And I'm thinking I'm next. The customer and the cashier are having a dispute over 30 cents. And let me explain this. And let me tell y'all something. Those of y'all who do this, when your bill comes to $12.99, don't you pull out that little pouch. I don't know what, I mean, and then you got to count it like this. Don't do it as a penny. Just add the penny to the pouch. That's another holdup. If I look at you and see that you a pouch carrier, I ain't coming. Wait a minute, I think I got 99 cents, but you got $1. So we stand in line, right? And they argued, and when you're in a hurry, it could have been 5 minutes, but it felt like 15. So finally, this is what the argument was about. She had coupons. I'm sorry. Y'all got to excuse me for a minute. I still see that. I just saw. She's standing there with a coupon with her 15 items. And, you know, when you get a coupon, you run it across the thing, and they're supposed to take. Hers declined. So I'm standing there listening to them argue back and forth, and the cashier, He done read even the fine print on the coupon, and I'm thinking, really? So then I saw the coupon, and it was 30 cents. And so I called my wife. I either called and texted her, never again. Never again. And so it got deep. They had to call the manager. Now, they could have asked me what was wrong. I knew. But you don't get in the battle of 30 cents at the cash register. And you don't work there. And let me tell you what the problem was. She had the right product. She had the wrong size. So she was arguing for 30 cents. And then this really made me mad. The cashier said, would you like to go back and get it? Oh, no, I'll keep it. I was willing to go back and get it for her. But she stood in line and she argued, you owe me 30 cents. And people, I can see people going from earth to heaven, giving God some coupons if God declines and start calculating. But I gave to church every Sunday. I served on this ministry. I sung all these solos. I preached every sermon. I visited the sick. I ran from some sin that I could have partake of. I told the truth when I wanted to tell a lie. It don't work that way. You got to believe that he's Lord. We're justified by faith through grace. Doesn't work this way, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Can't shack in your faith and can't network him. Can't get away with complaining. It's not excusable, and Paul says it's not acceptable. And if you know that's where you are, don't think that you're standing there when the ground is shaky. Doesn't work that way. But Paul says something else. He doesn't say it all the way negative. He says, compared to where you were before God, you are a little closer. At least you're in the same room. He said, you are a little closer. At least you did put him in the lineup. And at least you are talking to him. Y'all got your Grace Note now? Paul says the problem is if you stop there, that's when you'll sink. When you think you've done enough and there's more to be done, that's what makes the ground shaky. Not how far you've climbed, but where did you decide to stop? And God said, go. Where did you put a period, as Alex said, and God put a comma? Let me explain and then I'm gone. I was talking to I worked for 5 years, 6 years at John Wesley United Methodist Church. I was their pastor. My wife has to bring this up to me every now and again. Sermons from John Wesley I got downstairs in a file cabinet. Hundreds of them. I preached for them I did 2 services there, 2 different sermons every Sunday morning. I stayed there 5 years. I got a file cabinet full of sermons that I preach. And I got a drawer full of sermons I preach. Sermons that you have not heard. That if I was lazy, If I thought God had carried me, I could very easily go down in the file box, dust off an old sermon, and bring it to you. And you would never know it. I got sermons for 5 years that you have not heard, sitting in a file box, that I could preach for you. You would never know it. But the reason why I don't use the file box, not because the sermons aren't good, but I don't think my best sermon has been preached. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You're not the best you can be. That if you stop right here, you done cut yourself short. That you're better than what you are right now. You're more than what you are right now. You're bigger than what you are right now. You're better than what you are right now. You're richer than what you are right now. Everything about you is better. And now I get it, Kami. That's why every Sunday when the Baptist preacher, before he sits down, carries us to the cross and remember that Christ died, Christ rose, Christ come again, because every week I said something, did something that I need the blood to drop one more time to wash away my sin. You're better than this. And when you sit in church and think you have arrived, you're on shaky ground and you're bound to sink. So in God's house, we don't ever say that's good enough, because that means you've already confessed you could do better. It don't work that way. If the Lord would give his best for us, then we, in respect and the love we have for him, should give our best in return. Don't tell us no more how tired and busy you are. If you're that tired and busy, I tell you what, you grab a cross and get a heal. And then tell me about tired and busy. You die for people who spit on you. And tell me about tired and busy. Because if it had not been for the Lord saying, I ain't so tired that I won't carry your burdens up Golgotha's hill. I ain't that tired that I won't hang here between two thieves for 9 hours. I ain't that tired that I won't pray one more prayer. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. I'm not that tired that I won't look over the hills and let more blood drip for more people that want to come. I ain't that tired. Whatever you need, Father, here am I. And when it's all done, into your hands I will commend myself, because I've done the best I can do. Sometimes these sermons won't grow your church, but they sure should grow your soul, because you know you're better than what you are. That's all that's what Paul was trying to tell him. You close, but get a little closer. You near, but you can come near. You working, but you can work a little harder. That's how it works. Every day, I draw nearer to God. That's how it works. Because I'm watching to make sure I'm growing in his grace. I hope somebody heard me. You may have to go through something, but go through it. You may have to experience some displeasure, but enjoy the ride. Because when you come out on the other side, you might not even know who you are. You be saying stuff like, boy, 2 days ago I would have called you something. I don't know why I can't say it now. Keep growing, y'all. And give the Lord a hand praise. And give him a bigger praise than the one you gave him last week. God is good and worthy to be praised. Let us stand all around the church. And let me tell you this. It begins like this. It does work this way. When the doors of the church are open and your heart's been touched, and God says, don't forsake the assembly of the saints. And let me say also good morning to Facebook pages, people, live stream, wherever you are, checking us out. If you feel like you want to surrender today, you can do it right there online. Because church can't get hung up in the fact that our hands can't reach them. But God can reach them, whether they're in a living room, a dining room, a basement. Word travels. And all you have to do is type on the screen, today I give my life to the Lord. Today I consider myself an official member of Westphalia. Amen. You can join from there. Those of you who are already this close, do you want to get a little closer? And let me tell you what happens. Now think about it. You have come from wherever you did to travel this distance, walk that parking lot, come through that door, sit in that pew, and you're that close. That close. You see the problem? To get that close and turn around and go back. Because you may think the pew is close enough. That's not how it works. The Lord says, if you acknowledge me in public, I will acknowledge you before my Father. So the doors of the church are open today. If there's one that needs to make the walk, give me your hand, because God has your heart. Just want to minister to you before you move. Come in Jesus'